Okay, so blood sugar balance. This would be mainly people who are what? Diabetic. So we have to understand first a little bit about what diabetes is. It is not a blood sugar disorder. Okay, this is I don't know how to say this in a gentle way, but we've made it out to be in the medical industry that if you have your blood sugar balanced and your blood sugar numbers look good, then you're okay. Nothing could be further from the truth. So let me explain the mechanisms a little bit that happens with diabetes, and then how the medical industry is just treating the symptoms while allowing the people to continue in their sickness and their disease. So basically, your body needs sugar, it needs fuel, it needs energy, and if you put sugar into the body will burn that based on your needs, supply and demand. So you put too much supply in your body, you don't have the demand, the body's got to figure out what to do with the sugar. The liver's got to figure it out, the bloodstream's got to figure it out, the cells have to figure it out, and so excessive sugar in the body we know can cause weight gain. Because you're eating like a marathon runner, you're not running a marathon. You know, you're sitting at a desk job, you're eating donuts and pizza and crackers, and the body's like, I don't know what to do with all this. That's going to store as excess weight. So when you do that over the course of years and years and years, the body starts to get more and more sick and more congested with excessive amounts of sugars and carbs and things that the body can't handle. And it eventually gets to the point where there's so much toxicity in the body that the cells of the body actually cannot handle taking any more sugar, because if any more sugar gets into the cells, it's going to start to kill and destroy the cells. So what happens is it's really sad what diabetes is. And just to even go back a little bit further, is there was no recorded written incident of diabetes until the 1800s by an English doctor, and it started right after England started importing sugar from the East. I think it was like Sri Lanka or something. As soon as they started bringing sugar in on boats and started using it in baking and pastries, all of a sudden there was this new disease that this doctor started writing about. The king actually made him keep it to themselves and not make it public, because they were making so much money on the sugar trade, they didn't want anybody not eating the sugar. So we see how far back the greed and the deception can go. So diabetes is a man-made disease. It is simply from processing our foods and eating too much of the wrong foods. Again, processed white flour, white sugar, pizza, crackers, baked goods, you know, just all of the excessive amount of sugar that our culture eats. And so again, going back, what happens is the body's eating sugars and carbs, sugars and carbs, sugars and carbs. The liver's overworked, the kidneys overworked, eventually the bloodstream gets overworked, all the way down to the cellular level. And so you've heard of insulin resistance. Insulin is something the body must release to get sugar into the cells and out of the body. For the metabolic action to happen, you got to have insulin for that metabolic action to take place. When the body is so congested with sugar that the cells say no more, what actually happens is the brain sends a signal to the cells of the body that basically tells the cells to close their door and not allow any more sugar into the cells. Because if any more sugar gets into the cells are going to be killed. And you don't want your cells to die. So the body, again, has this inherent intelligence, the way God designed us, that in spite of all the bad things we throw out of it, it's always trying to survive. So it's a pretty scary moment when the cells stop allowing glucose into the cells, because you need glucose in your cells. But there's so much glucose in your cells and in your body that it's going to start killing your cells. So what happens is the cells are now given a signal to turn off. Nothing's allowed in. That sugar you're eating stays in your bloodstream. When sugar's in your bloodstream, your body goes, we need insulin. So it starts producing insulin, and it keeps producing insulin. And then the cells are saying, no more, no more, no more. This is insulin resistance. All of a sudden your body just can't process it anymore. It can't process it anymore. When sugar's trapped in your bloodstream, insulin's trapped in your bloodstream with nowhere to go, it starts to break down and eat away your cardiovascular system. And again, God's always trying to protect us. So what gets eaten away first? your extremities. So you think of neuropathy. They start with loss of feeling and numbness in the toes. Big toe usually first, then the toes, then the feet, then the ankles. People will get gangrene. People have to have their feet removed. It'll spread up to their knees. They'll get their knee removed. They'll get a whole leg removed. It's from eating excessive sugars and carbs more than anything. It's a congested bloodstream, just kind of like we talked about earlier with digestion. So there's other foods that can contribute to it, like the trans fatty acids, the bad fats, anything that congests the bloodstream. But it's mainly the sugar damage that's eating away the cardiovascular system.
Which is why the extremities start first, is because that's where the smallest capillaries are.
Right.
And so the smallest capillaries can only handle so much passage before they start getting gunked up.
Mm-hmm.
And they start breaking down, and you don't have that transfusion between oxygenated red blood and deoxygenated venous blood. And that whole transition just starts to break down, which is where your fingers are, your toes, and then, you know, that's where you start to get, basically parts falling off.
Yep. And so the other thing that's common with diabetes is
Eyes.
retinopathy. The retinas actually start to break down. Same thing, sugar damage starts to destroy the blood vessels of the eyes.
It's the small
And again, this is really frightening because it's completely preventable. It's completely reversible if we would change our diets. And so what happens is the medical doctors say, okay, you have a blood sugar imbalance. You need to take insulin because your body's insulin resistant. So you need to increase the amount of insulin. You're basically forcing the body to deal with this problem through synthetic man-made drug. And the insulin, again, forces the sugar levels down per the blood test numbers, but it doesn't really solve the problem because you're still eating sugar. And in fact, the doctors will tell you that you need to eat sugar because you need starches and you need sugars and you need carbs, but as long as you take your insulin and your blood sugar numbers are okay, then just keep going on with business as usual. So what happens when people take metformin and they take insulin is that the disease process does not stop. Your blood sugar numbers will look pretty when you go to the doctor, and you'll still lose your feet, you'll still lose your eyesight, you'll still have a heart attack. It'll still consume the person. It's a consumption disease. So with all that being said, there's products here to balance blood sugars. Now what's cool about this isn't about balancing blood sugar so they look pretty at the doctor. First thing you want to tell anybody who's diabetic, ideally, now people don't want to address their diet. A lot of people don't want to address their diet. But at least let them know that excessive sugar and carbohydrate consumption and anybody who's diabetic knows it, but they just don't want to address it. Let me give you a perfect example. We had a friend who's had parents and the dad was diabetic. And the mom was saying, you need to change your diet, you need to change your diet. He said, well, I like my diet. But he finally got frightened enough and she convinced him enough. He said, I'm going to change my diet. And he stopped eating bread and carbs and sweets and candy and breads and all those foods that he loved. And his blood sugar numbers dropped. He didn't need the medication anymore. He was getting off the medication and everything was good. They were happy. The children were happy. Mom was happy. Went to the doctor. Doctor wasn't happy. Doctor said, your blood sugar numbers are too low because you changed your diet. You need to eat some sugar. And so because people like what they like, and they like sweets and they like junk food, because their doctor said so, he actually stopped on the way home at the store and bought a whole bag of powdered donuts and a bunch of other junk food and ate it. And so he's back on his drugs, back on his insulin, and eating the junk food that he likes because his doctor said his blood sugar numbers were too low and he needed to eat sugar. So this is what's happening in our society today. There's a documentary called Simply Raw. There's a retreat center called Tree of Life, and anybody can watch this movie. It was a documentary, and diabetics from all over the country went to this facility. Some were on 1 or 2 medications, some were up on 16, 18 medications. After being on a raw food, sugar-free diet for 1 month, Everybody was off their medications, everybody's blood sugar numbers looked great, and everybody lost weight, and it was quick. I always tell people you can reverse diabetes in 30 days. Type 2. Type 2, which is adult onset, that's just from poor diet and lifestyle. Type 1, totally different. Won't huge get into type 1 diabetes right now, but basically the pancreas is not producing insulin at all. That's bad news. You have to take insulin shots. We don't know of any way around that. Now, you can adjust the diet to the point where they need very, very small amounts of insulin. But I won't get too much into it. But so we don't know exactly what causes type 1 diabetes, but something causes the pancreas not to work. The strongest links on why that doesn't work is processed dairy. Viruses and bacteria and parasites that are passed through homogenized pasteurized milk. That's the biggest link that we know of right now. But they believe it's some type of infection or infectious agent that gets in the pancreas and disables it from functioning. Okay, so blood sugar balancers. Now the cool thing about this is it's going to balance your blood sugars, but it's going to also heal your body because these are God's plants. These are things that God made that's not only going to balance your blood sugars, but it's going to help with digestion, and it's going to actually bring healing to the cells of the body, nutrients that the body needs, and that's the best way to do it. So we don't only want to just see their blood sugar numbers look pretty, we want them to get better. So we want to recommend they get off of sugars and sweets, kind of adjust their diet a little bit, maybe get off of soda pop or whatever you want to talk to them about, drink lots of water. This is a really good formula called Aregulin. It's got pumpkin seeds, cinnamon, so we've all heard of cinnamon for balancing blood sugars. It is one of the best things for blood sugars. Fenugreek, wild cumin oil, wild myrtle oil, wild oregano oil. We know North American Herb & Spice, they like to put every oregano oil in everything. But this is a wild spice blend, and I've seen this do great things for people with blood sugar issues. This is going to be more of a formula that by Ridgecrest. They usually blend a lot of herbs with homeopathics. This one looks like it's just gypsum, anamarina root, eleuthero root, and Chinese licorice root. So this is mainly Chinese herbs for balancing blood sugars. Licorice root is one of the best known herbs. It's used a lot in Chinese medicine for balancing blood sugars. I haven't used this formula a lot, so I couldn't tell you a lot about it. This is the one we use the most. And I've given this to dozens of people, and this really works. So aloe vera, we talked about aloe vera with digestion, great for blood sugar balance. Nopal cactus is really well known for blood sugar balance. This is nopal cactus and whole leaf aloe, but this also has a blend of a lot of other things you might have heard help with blood sugars. Chromium picolinate. Chromium is a mineral, and you have to have chromium to get sugar into your cells. If you're deficient in chromium, you can't metabolize sugar and burn it properly the way you're supposed to. So a lot of people come in here just for chromium, but this is a nice blend that's got zinc, chromium, it's got the aloe, the nopal cactus, it's got the cinnamon, it's got CoQ10, it has guarana, which has a little bit of natural caffeine that's kind of a stimulant. So this is a good weight loss formula too. Kelp for your thyroid, dandelion root, it's got ginseng in it. So this is hands down my favorite formula because it's called Aloe Boost. So this is going to help with weight loss, it's going to help with metabolism, it's going to help with blood sugar balance, it's going to be great for a diabetic. They take one with each meal. One with each meal on this. This is a pancreas formula. People who are diabetic have problems with their pancreas for sure. So good to give them herbs to support their pancreas. Fenugreek, juniper berry, burdock root, uva ursi, dandelion, alfalfa, juniper berry, European elderberry. Juniper berry is probably the herb I've heard of the most used for the pancreas. Gymnema sylvestris, another herb that's used for that. We'll talk about more of that when we get to weight loss products. So those are the main ones we have for blood sugar balance. Again, the Aloe Boost I use the most. The next, the Aregulin. I like those two because I like the wild spices because of all the other benefits for the immune system and just everything else that these do for digestion. Matcha powder. This is a matcha green tea. A lot of people take this. We're probably getting more into weight loss now. Matcha green tea, people like the taste. People use it for weight loss. It naturally has some caffeine in it. These are really actually nice, not only for weight loss, but to replace coffee drinking. If you drink coffee to excess, I'm not against coffee by any means. It's just the Starbucks double espresso loaded with sugar. That's the problem. Coffee's not the problem. It's the excessive consumption, or it's all the other things we add to it. So matcha green tea is well known for weight loss. Everybody's heard about the antioxidant benefits of green tea, longevity. People just take it every day for good health. So this is a good form of the matcha green tea. Now we're getting into the coffee bean extracts. So it's got chlorogenic acid, which is something that helps promote weight loss. A couple of things we hear about a lot for weight loss is the pure bean coffee bean, the raspberry ketones. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but raspberry ketones were big for a while. Yeah, Dr. Oz talked about it and everybody goes crazy, right? So raspberry ketones and green tea is in this formula. It's called the raspberry ketone diet. So it's got both the raspberry ketones and the green tea. So a lot of people, I don't know a lot about the action of raspberry ketone that makes it do what it does what it does. I really don't know. We know raspberries, it's a berry. We have other forms of raspberries. I don't know what's in it that promotes weight loss, but it's been studied and we know it works. So I don't have a good answer for that. Yeah.
Is it the caffeine in the green tea that's causing the weight loss?
No, it's partially the green tea, but it's also it's the chlorogenic acid. Oh no, I'm thinking coffee bean. Yeah, the green tea, from what I know, it's mainly the caffeine, the stimulant effect. But there's other nutrients in green tea that promote weight loss besides just the caffeine. Yes, because metabolism, digestion, antioxidant effect, just everything else that green tea does. Yeah, for sure. Fuco Thin Green, Garden of Life. Okay, I remember Fuco xanthan from like 10 years ago when I worked at a health food store. So it's from a brown seaweed extract and it promotes weight loss. Metabolism, great for the thyroid. Any seaweed is going to be good for the thyroid. The thyroid's good for metabolism, fat burning. We know what the thyroid does. So this has brown seaweed in it, and it has the chlorogenic acid also, which is the coffee bean. So this is a blend of the brown seaweed with the coffee bean, and this is a weight loss product. And they market this as it boosts metabolism without the jitters. So it's not going to give you a caffeine stimulating type of effect. Healthy blood sugar levels, minimizes fat storage, increases lean body mass. Moving on to total body purge. Wow, this is kind of like, this should be in the cleansing section. Let's focus on weight loss. Let's go right here. This is called Sugar Stop. We know that sugar is a big issue. I've struggled with eating sugar. A lot of people have struggled with eating sugar. They can't control their sugar cravings. This Sugar Stop formula, the first ingredient is Gymnema. The nickname of Gymnema is the sugar destroyer. It stops sugar from being absorbed in the body. It stops sugar cravings, and it actually makes sugar taste funny when you eat it. I've heard people say that when they eat sugars, the sugar almost tastes like dirt because they've been taking Gymnema.
Is that the same one you were talking about before?
No, there's another one that's got
What was the herb you were saying before? You don't know how to say it, but you were just reading it. It sounds
ginseng. Gentian.
Oh, gentian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different.
Gosh, okay.
This is Gymnema sylvester. So this has Gymnema. It has licorice root, dandelion root, burdock root, which are liver cleansers. It's got stevia in it. Stevia is actually a really high source of chromium. It actually can be beneficial for people with blood sugar issues, diabetes, and eleuthero root. But mainly it's the Gymnema that stops the cravings for the sugar. I always tell people with the Sugar Stop formula, pop it under the tongue a couple times a day, but anytime you feel like you're having a craving, just put it under your tongue and it'll help stop the craving. Sugar Stop. Sweet Cheat, another formula to help with sugar cravings. What's in here? Gymnema sylvester. But there's one other thing in here, it's called Garcinia. And that's been pretty hot lately on the weight loss market. I've never been huge into weight loss products. So if people come in wanting to lose weight, I always tell them, hey, you really want to avoid the sugar, starches, carbs, the junk food. That makes a huge difference. They have to understand that. Because what's cool is we want people to succeed. We want people to feel better. So we want results. And so if they actually couple even a slight diet change, these products work. That's what I really encourage people to understand about these products is they do work. But you want to couple it with walking every day and eating a good diet and drinking lots of water. This is going to work so much better. A lot of times people like find out about the new latest greatest diet product. They want to still eat and do what they've been doing and let this do all the work. This might have some effect or a minimal effect, but it's going to have a dramatic effect if they make some basic lifestyle changes. The other ingredient with the gymnema in the sweet cheat is Garcinia. And Garcinia has been pretty hot because they know it actually blocks fat absorption, so that you don't actually absorb fat. So that's the sweet cheat. We've been selling a lot of this. So
We've got Garcinia just in a tincture too, right?
yeah, and we have Garcinia in the cedar bear liquid herbal tincture as well. Cider melt. Apple cider vinegar is good for weight loss. It's loaded with minerals. We talked about it in the acid reflux department. It helps with digestion. So this is apple cider vinegar in a capsule, because a lot of people don't like the taste of apple cider vinegar. It's very strong. This is a weight loss formula too, because it's called cider melt, as in like melt fat, right? So apple cider vinegar, green tea, hawthorn berry, apple pectin, rhubarb. So this is a nice little weight loss formula. It's got some fibers in it, some things to help with bowel movements, the green tea with the caffeine, and it's got the apple cider vinegar in it.
What's the rhubarb for?
The rhubarb's for bowel. Yep.
What's that called?
Rhubarb, oh, cider melt. Yep. And then really we'd be getting into the cleansing. The total body purge would be part of cleansing. So we'll wait and we'll save cleansing for next time.
What about the Beta Slim?
Oh, the Beta Slim, sorry. Yes, thank you. Beta Slim. So if people, let's put it this way. If people's weight issues is because they love their sweets. And they've been eating baked goods and bread and pasta, and it has just caused weight gain. One of the best things they can do to lose weight is to get off the carbs and eat lots of good, healthy fats. You can lose weight with coconut oil, avocado, olive oils. You can eat all those good fats and drop weight really fast if you get off the carbs. Now, if people got liver gallbladder issues, you can't do the heavy fats. So you have to be really cautious with the heavy fats. So you might check with the person if they're overweight and they want to lose weight. Man, if they get off the carbs and do, this is called Beta Slim, and this is mainly the red palm oil and coconut oil in a capsule form, they'll lose weight really fast, actually. This is the body not burning carbs for fuel anymore, but burning fat for fuel, which is called ketosis. So when the body gets into ketosis, it's not unhealthy. A lot of people are scared of ketosis. It can get to a dangerous level, but just changing the body chemistry so it starts burning fat is a good thing, as long as you don't do it too long, excessively. But this Beta Slim has red palm oil, coconut oil, raspberry seed. Remember we talked about the raspberry ketones, cranberry seed, Sancha Inchi oil, fennel, oregano, of course, because it's North American herb and spice, cumin oil, ginger oil, and this is a really good weight loss product. Again, for somebody, if you can get them off the carbs, tell them the importance of healthy fats. The fats will give them fuel, it'll give them energy, and the weight will fall off. I actually had a gal I worked with in Las Vegas who lost 70 pounds in 2 months. She got off the carbs and she ate lots of coconut oil. The weight just fell off. So you can actually lose weight eating fats. Again, as long as you don't have liver gallbladder, as long as you don't have issues digesting and processing the fats, because fats are really good for us, really good for our metabolism, good for our hormones. So that's what the Beta Slim's for. Cool.
Vaughn, can I ask a question?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to stop it.